You are beautiful. You are strong. You are love. You deserve to have the life you desire. It doesn't matter what others say about you. It's about what you say about you. You are worthy. Hey y'all, welcome back to You Are What You Think TV. Today's video is going to be extremely simple. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be short. But I created this video because I was someone who in the past was opposed to rereading books. Now I know you're probably like, why wouldn't you reread a good book, right? And part of that I feel like came from an immature part of me that's kind of like, once you read something once, that's all there is to it. You understood what the book was, that's it. But in my more mature age, in my later 20s, I am now realizing that, and it's something that I've been aware of when it comes to conversations, especially because you know when you grow up, how your parents you might hear your parents say the same things over and over again, and then that's kind of like a way for you to memorize what you're supposed to do versus what you're not supposed to do. That's how you learn. Well, it's the same way in which we learned in the past is the same way we learn now. Sometimes we have to come across the same information more than once in order to retain it. And I feel like the more we come across even good information, even information where you're like, I'm not gonna ever forget this because it's amazing, why would I? We don't forget things all the time on purpose, right? Some things we want to remember, but for some reason we haven't worked on our muscle memory, so we forget things. It happens at any age, especially if you've been through something traumatic within your life. So with that being said, it's so important to myself not too long ago. It's crazy it's taken this long, but I found myself not too long ago rereading some of what I would consider my top 10 favorite books. I haven't reread all of them, but I have reread a few of them, and it was really good to do so because the older you get, especially when it comes to receiving certain information, even if it's the same information you've heard or have come across in the past, you understand it differently when you're older. The wiser you are, the more mature you are, the same information you receive maybe at 20 is gonna hit different when you're 30. You may be able to apply it to your life in a different way because you've been through more experiences. And so I'm saying all that to say that it's funny because when I was younger, people used to say, I think I know everything. They used to like swear by it. They used to say, oh, she thinks she know everything. This, that, and that. She can't learn nothing else because she thinks she know everything. And I used to always say, that's not true. No, I don't. There is a small part of that just has to be true because when it comes to books, you know, I wasn't open to receiving the same information. Even if I considered it a good book, I feel like it has to be true, or it had to have been true to some degree, because even though you've been told something, even though you might have heard something in the past, you may receive it differently. And this video is pretty much to say, please just remain open, and not just open to receiving new information or maybe a different perspective from one that you've understood or heard in the past, but be open to the possibility that you may understand things differently, even being given the same information. And I'm sharing that with you because, you know, in life, we learn new things, we discover new things about ourselves, others, and so forth. And that's just something new that I've discovered about myself that I realized. I'm like, I don't know why I was thinking, oh, you know, I've already read that book, I don't need to reread it. And I was talking so much junk, like, why would I reread a book I've already read? I want to read a new book, right? And that makes sense on surface level, but when you think about understanding and when you think about perspective, both of those things change with life experiences. So I encourage you, and if I haven't, hopefully I haven't said this in one of my past videos, but if I have, so what? Sometimes these messages of hearing things more than once, especially in videos that might be close together, is like a message from the divine being passed through me to maybe point you in a direction in which you're supposed to look that you could be avoiding. So I am here to say, be open to maybe coming across things you've come across in the past. Don't be afraid to reread books, especially if you're out of reading material and you're thinking, that was a really good book, I might want to reread it. Definitely reread it. Even if, I mean, clearly you wouldn't prioritize it maybe as you would some new reading material, but you may be surprised at what you understand differently about what the book you're reading and even about yourself. So that is my bit of advice for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I can personally say that there were 2 books that surprisingly are in my top 10, but they were semi-triggering to me for within a certain aspect of my life. And rereading it helped me understand why they were triggering and that it still kind of had that same effect. What I liked about it though is that it made me aware of the fact that it didn't affect me as much because of my awareness to that part of my life that I know I need to heal. So that's just me sharing a little bit this week of what I've discovered. If you have heard me say this before, we are revisiting it once again clearly. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I do want you to always remain half empty. And when I say that, I'm talking about your cup never being too full to receive new information, new wisdom, new insight, new perspective. Always remain half empty. It's okay to have your opinions. It's okay to bring forth your experiences, to bring forth facts that you know and things you may have heard from others, but always be open to getting new information, even if it's about something you may already know. Something you may already know about, something you may even be a master at knowing about. Because the truth of the matter is, we do not know everything about anything. There's not one thing we know everything about. No matter how many years you've studied it, no matter how many years you've practiced at it, worked on it, studied it, trust and believe there's always something new and more to learn. So that is my advice for this week. Remain open, revisit things that you feel you may want to come across or that you want a deeper understanding in. And until next time, everyone, be well.